It's a brave new day in the NFL because I'm back. Last season's over. We're into best ball season 2026, and the work begins as it always does here on the Splash Play channel. We're going to hop into a draft today, and we're going to do it with the help of a new product that I'm bringing to the table this year. I'm going to talk more about it in a moment. But basically, I'm going to take you guys through, I guess, my end of last season as well. You can see, let's pull up the Chiron again. Yes, 2 top 100 finishes last year. In fact, 1 top 25 in the Chihuahua, I believe is what it was. But Chihuahua, Puppy 2, those are my 2. Finished top 100 in last year. So a decent year, despite, feeling like player take wise, Bucky Irving, Jaden Daniels, just the injuries for those guys, lack of effectiveness as well for both guys down in year 2. Didn't feel the best about a lot of stuff last year. Still, we're going to do the work again as we always do on the Splash Play channel. And we're here. So let's get going. I am waiting in a draft room. So actually, we'll give you guys a chance today, to get in a draft room because, frankly, I noticed as part of my testing process for building some stuff out this offseason, the rooms are taking forever to fill. So, unfortunately, now I'm just going to be like, I don't care about it. Hop into the room if you want here. Did ping the Discord first. They had first crack at it. Shout out guy Bindles in the chat as well. It is subscriber-only mode as well, so you guys can hop to the chat. Not a members-only draft today. But I will show you guys here. Look at this boring underdog draft site here. Let's spice it up with the tool that I'm belovedly calling the BBC, but better known in its professional name, the Splash Play Best Ball Champion. Now, I, of course, am not a Best Ball Champion, and in fact, there's a lot of them out there. Sam Sherman, guy won BBN last year, guy I've talked a lot about in the stream over the course of many years of doing drafts here on Splash Play. Shout out to him for that big win, of course. But really, what this tool is a Best Ball Champion more in the traditional sense that you might have heard on Game of Thrones, where it's a champion helping you fight the good fight. In fact, I'll show you guys a landing page that you can find for yourself on the splashplaypodcast.com site or at bestballchampion.com, a domain that I do in fact own, which I gave Sam or whoever else wanted to buy it like 1 month. And then I just bought it, and that's what we're getting right now. But every draft is a battle, enter with a champion. I'm not meaning to shill you guys up top, but I am trying to set the table for what my draft season is going to look like. Basically created this tool. I don't, it's obviously going to be competitive to the sidekick, I guess, in terms of how people view it. In reality, though, the tool is more one that combines everything in terms of what I bring to the table as a creator, and hopefully, stuff that's worked well for me across NBA DFS as well. MLB DFS soon to be covering that on the Splash Play Bets channel. You can see some of the features we have here. The coolest one is this 10,000 Monte Carlo pick simulation. So this is something that I don't think anything else out there has right now. Something that I developed for high speed for my NBA DFS stuff is basically a simulation product where I could turn out 100,000 sims at the same speed it usually takes other things out there to take 10,000 sims. And if you haven't, watched the development on the NBA channel, it's all Claude coding. It's a lot of me spending time banging my head against the wall, learning how to use AI agents, AI coding effectively. We've got to a point, though, where it does work pretty well. We also still have 2 spots left in the draft, by the way, guys, if you want to hop in. But basically built this tool from the ground up. It also does things here. Let me go back to Underdog. So let me pull in my latest exposures. I've been doing a lot of little board drafts, testing the tool out. You can see I've gotten 13 done out of that 20 max. So here's the first thing you're going to do when you use the Best Ball Champion. I'll move it over here. You can see my maybe good, maybe not good exposures. A little too much Michael Penix, I think, because the tool does like you getting a third QB. Let's import exposures here. I'll clear my current ones, scrape the page. It's 1 click. Done. My exposures are now in. We can go back to our active draft here, waiting for these last 2 spots still. And I don't think, is it going to simulate yet? It will try to sim still, even though we have not filled the room yet. So you can see Bijan Robinson, 73% of the time across 10,000 sims. He's the best pick. What it tries to deduce is basically what it calls marginal value, which is how much each player is worth relative to basically your next 25 picks in a draft. It accounts for stacking, accounts for basically, underdog projections as well, ADPs. And actually, I turned off the overlay as well. I meant to do like a big show and tell thing as though I were an Apple CEO. Here's the overlay you can see now with all my exposures. One really cool thing, which I know nobody else has done so far, is, well, a couple things here. You can see here, let's click this SP badge. Here's the ADP trajectory right now. So it's built in as sort of a spark line you could see next to every player. So if a guy's coming up, you'll see that. If a guy's crashing ADP-wise, you'll see that. You also see all the key stats that I pull in, stuff like EPA from Sports Info Solutions, the compiled stats that I pull together, intended touches, touches per game, rushes per game, all that, targets per out run, avoided tackle rate. Again, some of the key stats along with the EPA. You can also see over here, well, number one, your sim rates. That's going to be an obvious part. You can also pick players from here, which I think is allowed. But if not, there's the queue thing here that works as well. Basically what it does, and I will say, if you use the tool, make sure it does actually pick the player, because it's not underdogs like stuff can be finicky. Same thing on DraftKings as well, where this tool does work. But basically you can make the pick inline here as well. So you can also add it to the queue if you just want to put a bunch of players in. But if you want to make the pick directly, it'll queue it up and then pick for you to get that guy in. So hopefully we'll decrease some of the lead time here. You can see I'm picking in the 11 hole. When you minimize the tool, it goes down here. When you expand it, it comes back. Here's an explanation of how the sims work as well. If you want to read it, it does link to Leone's Best Ball Manifesto. The coolest part of things, which I think you'll see now come up, draft capital. So this is something I know our good friend Pete Overzet, his tool that he built with Brick, does. I don't know which other ones do it or don't. I think ETRs might do it on the back end, but not on a front end thing. This will show you draft capital buckets, where your range is of how much, if you've taken an RB in the first round, that's worth, let's say, 100 points. So you'll have 100 points towards the 155 or whatever you have to hit to get into the good range of where draft capital buckets should be. And this is using Leone's data and then adjusting it for the last couple of years of BBM. So definitely some leaps there. But basically, a tool here that tells you, how to build more balanced teams, which I think goes hand in hand with what I know, Sam Sherman, last year's BBM winner, something we had spoken about years ago, is how he builds teams, where he feels like you should build your starting roster first. So you're getting your 2 RBs, you're getting your 3 wide receivers, you're getting your tight end, and obviously, in different parts of a draft, but you're also getting your QB perhaps somewhere around there. You're getting all that stuff coming together to make a roster. That's sort of what this tool naturally does for you with the draft capital bucketing and all of that, bucketing and all of that. So basically for me, there's kind of 2 things here. I know this is a long intro, but I do want to give you guys sort of a spiel, because this tool really took a lot of time to get right on my end. I was also trying another tool where I was going to have it be something where it scrapes stuff on mobile, because there's really no tool that exists on mobile. The reason nothing exists on mobile is because you have to draft an Underdog's app. You can't use the website, but on desktop, you can use the website and then manipulate it in various ways. This tool is basically just a JavaScript bookmarklet. So you don't have to install anything on Chrome. Like, it's not an extension where you have to upload the things and keep updating it. What it does is basically it'll update in perpetuity. So if there's a new version, it'll tell you, and it can't update itself. It'll tell you, go to the page, drag the bookmarklet in. But basically, I'll show you guys real fast here on my site. Sorry, I know the draft is going. We'll talk about players as well, but I'm just trying to set the table with the tool here, because it is a really important part of my draft process. That was something this year for me to, not only monetize what I'm doing on stream, but also to give myself something that made me excited to draft again. Because I think with best ball, it can be a bit of a drag. Even with getting good results last year, the process was just such a haul. Basically, so here's what you do here. You go to splashplaypodcast.com/NFL, drag this up to your bookmarks tab. It then works. That's just all it does. Again, try to make it as idiot-proof, simple as possible, as is the case with everything I do with what I've been developing at splashplaypodcast.com. But anyway, that's sort of the ground level stuff for the best ball champion. Our pick is coming up here. We'll run the sim. I will say it's slightly faster, 3 seconds or less on Mac. James Cook is the guy coming up the most here with a 56% sim win rate. So we're going to pick him. And there we go. James Cook, first guy down. Go back to the board view here. We're adequately zoomed out. So that's the thing. That's called the Best Ball Champion. There's a link in the description. Go to bestballchampion.com if you want to learn more. We'll talk about football players now, but I did want to set the table with some of the stuff. One other cool thing as well, especially for rookies. So number one, I do pull in rookie data from all the stuff I talked about earlier in the year on our rookie preview video. You also can see news and tweets here. So let's say Bijan Robinson tore his ACL in camp. We'll have the most recent tweet that mentions Bijan Robinson saying that coming in here, or one of the more popular tweets that references it. So that's the kind of thing now. Google News alerts as well for rookies in particular. You can see a lot of their 40 times and shit like that. Ooh, I'm on the clock, guys, and I forgot to run the sim. Do I have enough time? Let's see. Simulate best pick. Oh, we're cutting it close. Oh, it's Omarion Hampton. Oh, I got the pick in. Wow, guys, I wasn't paying attention for 10 seconds on the clock, and I still ran a sim and got the pick in. I swear I'm doing infomercial shit, guys, but it's half a bit, but it's mostly can you believe this? Can you believe that I made this? It's pretty sick, right? So right now we got a 2 RB start here. You can see the RB capital updating. So basically after we took the second guy, we could run it again and see where the draft capital is aligned. So we got 149 draft capital spent. It's a little bit hard to see this on Windows. But it looks like we have to get to 180 draft capital as a minimum. So we got 149 so far. We're not in the safe zone yet, but getting pretty close to it. And then again, once it is in the safe zone, it'll pop green. When you're a little bit too heavy, it'll pop yellow. And if you spent way too much draft capital in position, it'll pop red. So should be pretty basic and intuitive, but sometimes I think things are, and then they're not. There we go. Chat appreciates my showmanship, I think. All right, so NFL draft stuff coming up, I guess. I still think Mendoza should be your number one pick. I guess we can go back to that as the top premise here. I'll shrink the BBC. I'll make it a smaller BBC. Oh, we don't need it here on screen. Would say that for the draft, Mendoza has to go number one in my opinion. In fact, he's been buddying up with Tom Brady a little bit. To me, bringing in Clint Kubiak there, having a Brock Bowers as your main guy, I think he gets. And I know this is a hot assumption because with where the ADP is right now, I don't think it's like, I think you can make the case the ADP should be higher. I think that Brock Bowers just gets treated like JSN did in a Clint Kubiak offense that we saw, last year. So this spot to me, I think, trying to get to Mendoza more than his ADP right now, mentioned it in my rookie preview video, more than a month ago, really felt like that Raider stack was appealing. Unfortunately, the best ball champion tool does not love elite tight end. I think it finds that getting guys more in that Kyle Pitts range, high 80s, 90s-ish ADP, getting one or two of those guys looks a little bit better in terms of how the sims are looking. But I think for me, getting more of that Raiders stack right now and hoping that you get it right in the big board where everybody doesn't know it yet, with Mendoza being so cheap, that's one thing I would try to do right now. In terms of the offseason, I mean, there's been so many coaching changes where I would have liked a little more stability there. Like people, I think, still really respect Arizona. Michael Wilson holding on to, I believe, still a top 80 ADP. We can look here. You'd also see up top here, your stack targets. These are correlated players coming up. And then also when your next picks are. So if you want to try to map things out, you can. Michael Wilson at a 76.4 ADP. ADP coming down a little bit from 74.7, as you can see with this trajectory here over the last couple times. I uploaded it manually and then today live. I don't mind like those players. I just feel like some of these teams definitely overrated. All right, let's send this out here. All right, so Ladd McConkey coming up top here. He is correlated, so that does help. Garrett Wilson right behind him, but it's 73% sim rate for McConkey versus Garrett Wilson being much lower. So we'll go Ladd here. Pick button working like a champ so far. No pun intended. All right, let's send this out. So we got two RBs, one wide receiver, that Ladd McConkey pick. Zay Flowers coming up next. They don't want us to take Bucky here. I say they. My tool, the best ball champion, doesn't want us to take Bucky here. Though it's still like, it doesn't feel like me. These are not like my hands in the wheel kind of picks. So that's cool. But we obviously had to make up some wide receiver draft capital. So that's how it's looking right now. Team so far, James Cook, O'Mary, and Hampton, our first two picks. You can see the correlation here. It is color-coded for them. We're stacked up. Also a little pancake emoji with how your stack is appearing over here. I tried to do all the cute things that were good visual representations. At receiver, we got Ladd McConkey, who is falling a lot ADP-wise in rooms, so maybe could have tried to let him go a little bit further. We got Zay Flowers as well, a little bit ahead of ADP, but balanced team so far with the Cook-Hampton start. McConkey and Zay Flowers, I think we'll keep adding some receivers over the next few rounds here. Can I drop the link of said tool in the chat? I will drop a link for you. Here, hold on. It is in the description if you want to look at it right now as well. But it's at my splashplaypodcast.com site. You could also go to bestballchampion.com if you want and check it out. But basically, you get access to all of my data and tools across NBA DFS, MLB DFS coming up as well starting next week, and this best ball tool for one tier. So VIP tier is $40 a month. The Squirt Squad tier gets you $20 a month. On the Squirt Squad tier, you don't get the sim, but you get, I think, everything else, if I'm remembering correctly. So I'm still familiarizing myself with the sales pitch here. But yeah, that's how it looks right now. All right, I think the screen used to be better sized for a draft, but I have to go like we go full size here, like this. Try to do some different stuff to make the best ball drafts better this year, right? All right, here, we'll go full screen like this for now. The BBC won't be loaded in this tab. It'll be over here, but I'll keep that tab open for me. What else can we talk about here? All right, let's go through the board a little bit more. Josh Allen going here. I will say that the sims that I'm running right now, not the craziest about elite QB. In fact, was one of the things that really early versions, I thought overweighted elite QB too much. It would try to get me to go 10 picks early on Josh Allen, 10 picks early on Lamar Jackson. And a lot of the stuff too is, kind of tweaking it to get to something that feels a little more natural and, is more aligned to where it should be. I personally am a believer in rolling the dice on more QBs mid-range, more QBs, late in the draft, as you guys know. I've done a lot in stream over the last few years. But I think still one of the things is if you do take a Josh Allen early, you'll still be safely in the draft capital bucket for QB. You could do that. The sim will then adapt for it and not, and try to give you obviously more Buffalo stack correlation and all that. But frankly, I think Buffalo stack stuff does look pretty good. But I think on a natural level, like just seeing where the sim aligns with stuff, getting so used to that for DFS with stochastic, seeing for years, and the solver too, with ETR's data on there for NFL, seeing how sims look for DFS for years and years now, kind of develop an eye for how players should align with all of that. For what the sim has shown me so far is that I think that there are certain ways that I view stuff that's just not necessarily aligned with a sim where I'm like, oh, I got to get some of elite QB, and like really I think just relative to the marginal value again of players around them and how they would impact your scoring across 10,000 season sims. Players who are not elite QBs just tend to grade out better, but it is what it is. All right, we're coming up here. It starts to run a sim if we want. We'll say the Mac sim's a little bit faster than Windows sims, something with how web workers work. It just functions a little bit better on there. All right, so giving us Christian Watson, we'll run it one more time. Get on Mac in particular, you'll be able to do this. Yeah, I'll go Christian Watson. No issue with him here. Obviously, losing Romeo Dobbs, one of the blockers to Watson, getting sort of unlimited run outside. If Watson's own injury history also can be a concern point for sure. But I think losing Dobbs is the big thing there. Golden in year 2, that can be a problem in terms of him working his way up the food chain a little bit more. But I like Christian Watson. Thought he was great last year, and frankly, I did not expect him to be back from that ACL recovery after they were so tender with him the year before off his hamstring stuff. Okay, I swear to God, I'm not I don't force it to give me Jaden Daniels or anything. But Jaden coming up here, wanting to get some QB capital seems important. You can see how the draft capital coloring is starting to come into play now. So we'll take Jaden Daniels here. Not getting McLaurin with Jaden feels like a tough one this year, given how the current Commanders roster is shaken out. I really think that with Debo gone in free agency, I don't know where he's going to go. But he's gone. It's really going to be mostly Jaden Daniels throwing to McLaurin. Some of the early quotes from David Blau, who's taken over as the young, hot OC, theoretically, for the Commanders. It's definitely been a spot where I think that he said the right things about feeding McLaurin, and just given the situation, what they have right now, they're bringing back Treylon Burks. I guess, McCaffrey could take a leap this year, something like that. Chikakonko they brought in. I think he's still a pretty nice tight end, a replacement for Zach Ertz, even though it means, unfortunately, the death of poor Ben Sinnott's career. But I think for how Washington looks, it seems like a pretty tight target tree unless they bring in, like a Tate or a Mekhi Lemon type, which is a possibility. But I think for right now, just on the chance that they don't get one of those, tier of guys that are elite target earners and might be really good, I think getting Jaden and McLaurin is more of a priority to me than just Jaden naked. We'll be able to use this for UD dailies. I'm open to it. It definitely can do that. I would have to change some stuff, but if there's enough people signing up and they want it to work for that, I mean, very much I care about, the big thing for me in building splashplaypodcast.com, which if you guys missed it, that's a site basically where I'm promoting this year. I might do something with drafters if they want to do something later in the year, but my goal is sort of to be independent of shilling for gambling sites because, well, number one, I'm sure you guys saw in the offseason, Underdog, what they did, laying off a lot of people, not great stuff. But also, frankly, if I never talked about it at much length on stream because I don't know if it benefited me besides whatever. But, basically 3 times the span of 1 year had Underdog users issue violent threats to me in various ways. Some of them, 2 of them lived locally to me, which is even more uncomfortable. One of them ended up going to jail for leading to the death of somebody in a cocaine ring. This is all legit stuff that happened last year. So this is where I am. It really soured me on that, on the best ball experience in general. And Underdog as well last year threw me under the bus when I had the situation with the snowman guy who did threaten to come to my house and then, was literally in jail for, I guess, a year, for leading to somebody's death in a cocaine ring. So I just really got soured on dealing with Underdog at that point. They were also terrible to negotiate with, just guys that weren't paying attention, totally asleep at the wheel. So I don't want to work with them at this point. I don't think they're doing good things for you guys as consumers. Frankly, for me, it was really an ethical question. It's do I even want to gamble on their sites this year? And I know the views are there. I know you guys want to gamble on there. I still enjoy doing drafts. So I'm going to do it, but It was really like a debate point for me. And like in DraftKings too, like I like DraftKings. Like obviously I play DFS on DraftKings the most. I'm cool with DraftKings best ball enough. But I do think for them as well, like they're not investing a lot of time and effort to make a better product or make it cool. So it's kind of a bummer. So like for me, a lot of this is just being self-sustaining where I want to do best ball drafts, I want to enjoy it. And I also want to build something that I think nobody else has built yet. Like the sidekick is a really dope tool. Whatever ones that are out there, I know the best ball overlay guys do, interesting stuff with how they present data and all of that. I don't know if they're providing, simulation things or anything like that yet. If they do, more power to them. But to me, I just thought there was enough that I've learned from the process of like creating stuff lately that I can make something different and cool. So that's what I want to do. We got DK Metcalf coming up. Again, the pick thing is working 100% right now, but I will say like the pick button is still the most finicky part. Be prepared to kind of grab another guy quickly if you have to. But a 1-2-4 start here with Jaden Daniels, James Cook, Omarion Hampton, Ladd McConkey, Zay Flowers, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf. So you can see right now I'm just taking all the top guys. And as opposed to getting topped off by guys, which would be a different thing. Equally sexy, though, some could say. Tucker Kraft, the sim loves Tucker Kraft. It does account for Underdog's projections, and I think Underdog projections maybe give Kraft a little bit of love. Kraft, one of those guys, though, coming off a knee tear that in previous years you'd be really worried about. In the current ecosystem, I think maybe not as much. But Kraft correlated with Christian Watson here. He's picked up as well in our 1-2-4-1 start. So Jaden Daniels, James Cook, Omarion Hampton, Ladd McConkey, Zay Flowers, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf. Tight end Tucker Kraft to start here. I'm liking it. The Kraft I'm getting a lot of. Metcalf I'm getting a lot of. I do feel like in these ranges, definitely maybe a little too much weighting currently for the projection guys that are popping up, with Underdog's projection being probably useless really at this stage of things. But again, if you're mindful of your own exposures, at some point I'm going to get in combinatorial stuff. I have to figure out how I want to approach that. I think there's a lot of ways to make that work well by picking other players instead of just repeating. You're taking Kraft, Metcalf, etc. Let's go back to the draft board view here. I'll just keep this. This is working, right? We're switching back and forth between the screens. All right. What else do we got here? Oh, yeah. So to tie it all up, basically for me, because I don't want to be beholden to the gambling sites if I can avoid it. Like if I work with them, it's going to be like hopefully from a position of strength as opposed to weakness, and being like, hey, this is what I want to cover. Here's what I want to do, etc. And then supporting me on that. But really, like I wanted to build something that was self-sustaining. So you guys signing up at splashplaypodcast.com, and then if you want to just go to bestballchampion.com, it's going to redirect you to the same thing. That's my thing, is to build these products that I can use through NFL DFS season, into NFL best ball season, through NBA DFS season, through MLB DFS season, and make it one package that's hopefully affordable enough for people to get in on, and use it as sort of a, for best ball, ends up being cheaper than the sidekick if you go monthly. If you paid for a year of the sidekick, it's a little bit cheaper, but not much. But I care more about, I think for me, democratizing these tools, fully acknowledging that, Pat Carrain, shady advice over there to the guys, sacrilegious. I think there's like the big three who worked a lot on that sidekick tool. It's really dope, but basically, for me, I wanted to make my own thing I thought could maybe be slightly better, or at least a little bit different. So that's what we're trying to do. So, check it out. Anyway, I'm not going to shill the entire time. It's just, it obviously all goes hand in hand. You're seeing it on screen. So if you answer this already, but you run the sims every time, does it include all your previous picks? Yes. So it takes in stacking and all of that. It also takes into account, as best it can, what the draft capital looks like moving forward. So basically, here, I'll go back to this screen here. Like if it knows you're in a QB desert coming up, it's going to give you QB, like, maybe not early, but it will try to make sure you get QB before you have no shot at making up your draft capital. It's going to try to get you to a balanced team. Like ideally, it's going to hopefully get you to green in every category. It won't always do that because sometimes you'll overweight a little bit at one position or underweight another. But basically, it's going to try to get you to hit the positional maxes here. I think right now it's like 3, 6, 8, 3, if it can, across 20 rounds. And then it's going to also try to account for, like, when you are in a positional desert, getting a guy before you're in that spot. All right, back to the draft board. I really did spend a lot of time building it. After, kind of banging my head against the wall with the mobile version of what I wanted it to be, this flowed a lot more naturally. So really, really stoked about how it came out, is the best way I could summarize it. To the point where, like, I've been doing drafts almost every night before bed because, like, I just am, like, impressed with how it works, and like the teams I'm building I feel really good about. So I don't know. I think it's an edge, but I am biased. Can't not say that. Let's see. We got this guy ahead of us here. We'll just run a quick sim, see what's going to come up for our next couple picks. So you got a really slow computer, I guess you could start the sim early and then just go down the depth chart if you want. That guy took Jared Goff, who would have been our number 2 guy. It wants us to keep getting some correlation on Green Bay. which I'm cool with. I feel like Jaden Reed coming up a little bit more than I would personally like with this sim product so far, but it's cool. Kitty's not in the room with me right now. I left her up in the living room. Maybe a ballsy case. All right, let's run the sim again. All right, so it wants me to get Stafford here. Again, it will give correlation, but I do think we're a little bit light on correlation sometimes. Stafford is a 60% rate guy, so I'll go. Yeah, when that pick button works, it really does work very fast, which I'm happy with. All right, we got a 2-2-5-1. Hopefully we get some late correlation on Jaden and Stafford. We got Jaden and Stafford, obviously two guys who will project well at QB. We got Stafford as well, 9 picks after ADP. And last year he was great. Obviously, if you're going with the Stafford team against the Puka Nacua Stafford team in the finals, or an Adams Puka Nacua, I mean, there are reports that they wanted to get AJ Brown this offseason, which I don't know how you finesse that. There could be real weird Ram stacks that I get my ass kicked by. But I still think projection-wise, getting Stafford in, I think it works similar to the sidekick in that fashion for what I know. James Cook at RB, O'Marion Hampton. We spent a lot of draft capital at RB. As you could see early on, we're already in the safe zone there with those two guys coming in the first 2 picks that we had. Ladd McConkey, Zay Flowers, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf, Jaden Reed. So we made it up at receiver after a slow start. We are taking a bunch of pieces from Green Bay. Losing Romeo Doubs matters a lot here, especially if Matthew Golden keeps being a shitty target earner. So look, I like the team. Would have loved to have gotten Jordan Love back, but he didn't come back, so we got Stafford instead. I think that would have been the top pick, though, if Love had not gone to a person who has no Packers. Love went unstacked. What are you going to do? Can you customize any settings? Not right now, no. A little too complicated for me at this point. Yeah, I'm always open to stuff. I'm not sure what you would customize at this point. But Charles, if you join and you're in the Discord, happy to take feedback. But yeah, that's sort of the process. But I'm looking for people to test, because so far it's only been a handful of guys in the Discord who are paying usually for NBA DFS already, and then they tried this out. So if you are somebody that signs up, really happy to take any and all feedback, because I would like the tool to actually. That's what startups do. So keep it in mind. All right, so we got a couple picks coming up for us. What else in the offseason? I mean, right now I'm seeing on the board Malik Willis. Malik Willis, one of those players where I know everybody hates the Dolphins now. You can see him being on top of the board here. How would he sim for me? With 2 QBs, he probably wouldn't come up a ton for where I'm at right now. And Malik Willis would be down the board. I think Malik Willis is a really compelling pick. He was super aggressive last year by the EPA metrics that I swear by. But we got basically Malik Willis's numbers: 0.7 EPA per dropback, 0.8 EPA per pass, 0.25 EPA per rush. His catchable ball rate, and again, this is impossible, I think, to keep up. But the fact that you are, his coach now for the Dolphins, coming from, that Packers tree, I think you're going to expect him to try to import as many things that worked from Malik Willis last year into what they're going to do this season. 97% catchable ball rate, 83% on target rate. It was, a fairly small sample size, but bigger than a lot of the guys who would be ahead of him in these metrics. Malik Willis just a monster, 420+ deep attempts per game. So he's either throwing efficient passes or chucking it downfield and being efficient there. I am a big believer in Malik Willis, and I think this team, to me, they're going to be very defensively minded. They're probably going to run the ball a lot. Devon Achane, I think, even the running might not be as efficient as it was under Mike McDaniel, probably still going to be getting the volume that you're looking for. They want tight end, or the sim wants tight end for me here with Jake Ferguson, Brenton Strange, my top 2 guys. Ferguson is 69%. Very nice sim rate here. So let's go Jake Ferguson. So 2-2-5-2. We got Jaden, Stafford, Cook, O'Marion Hampton, Ladd, Zay, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf, Jaden Reed, Kraft, Jake Ferguson. Again, balanced team here. All right, here we go. Okay, I really wish that Windows Chrome worked the same way as Mac Chrome, where it'd go a little bit faster. We got Jaden Higgins, our top sim rate guy here. His ADP is coming down, but at least stabilizing a little bit. Let's go Jaden Higgins as our wide receiver 6. Let's see how the draft capital looks here. Again, you can sim as many times as you want. Doesn't matter. It also doesn't impact my bills either. So sim until your heart's content rather. So we're good now on RB capital, good on wide receiver capital, good on tight end capital. It's going to try to make us get a third QB, which is why I'm currently getting a ton of Michael Penix, who has a decent projection for Atlanta. Certainly could lose that job to Tua Tagovailoa, the other lefty on that offense, if things were to break well for him. But I think for how it looks, the team is built pretty according to what the sims are giving me when I run teams. So I think we're gonna do second draft. This draft's moving pretty decently fast, but that's what my best ball champion tool looks like. So check it out for yourself. Appreciate Charles here. You check it out whenever you want. It's gonna be there. I mean, I'm not getting rid of it. But yeah, right now, a lot of people signing up for NBA DFS. Next week, my MLB stream starting up as well. So that's gonna be another thing you get. But it's all one membership. Whatever I create, you guys get to use as much as you want, as little as you want. For NBA DFS, I know that works really well. For MLB, I'm excited to see how it looks because played a lot of time with the data on the back end. Still have to tweak some front end stuff for making it look as beautiful and work as well as I want for NBA as it is for that right now. But yeah, it's what we got right now. It's splashplaypodcast.com. So check it out. The best ball tool. If you want to learn more, bestballchampion.com. Actually, I'll read this fast too. How does this work? So basically what this is like a write-up for any of the total laymen out there. But it looks at your roster and the top 25 available players and simulates 10,000 fake NFL seasons. Obviously, it'd be a little bit different if you were to use the daily tool. And then it uses the ETR data. I also link to Leone's Best Ball Manifesto because I did train Claude on the Best Ball Manifesto and also some Rotoviz stuff and also some Spike Week stuff. So shouts to all those guys because, I think they are very well-respected sites if you're trying to learn best ball, using them as one of the ways to get into it. Very important thing. I also realized I didn't show it, but this is the how does this work thing you can read for yourself if you want. I'll pause it briefly. But anyway, that's what it looks like here. So we can do more player take stuff here. Now that we got that stuff. Some of the most jarring ADPs, I mean, one all the way up top here, Luther Burden going top 45 right now is crazy. Burden last year, one of those guys where it just didn't get on the field enough. But you are losing, Zacharias. You are losing, obviously, more importantly, DJ Moore. So the expectation is Burden's going to be out there a ton. But man, his ADP just holding rock solid here as a top 43 pick. They definitely could draft somebody else here, keep his role somewhat limited. But he did what he did in college. Good target earning, good avoiding tackles as well when he gets the ball in his hands. If they start feeding the ball more, he's going to make things happen because he's that kind of athlete as well. But Burden, man, top 45 was like one of those I just looked at him like, ugh, I hate it. Like, I totally get how it happens, but that's sort of what best ball is. Like any player you even have any faint reason to like this year, the market just steams them up exponentially more. Let's see what we got here. All right, Travis Hunter goes. I would really have a hard time taking Travis Hunter right now, just knowing that they do probably have a very easy pathway to play him a lot less on offense than he was already. Maybe not trending the right way. Well, he was trending the right way, but then he got hurt. We got Jonathan Brooks coming up here. Going to be low. We've been low on RB for a while. Woody Marks would have correlated, but Jonathan Brooks, better projection right now. And I think that's probably the big reason. Is ADP moving up too, as opposed to Marks moving down. I think would be the logic why he is coming up as a better choice. I think there's upside for Brooks, though. Supposedly looking good in his recovery. The fact the team did get rid of Rico Dowdle is good for Brooks' upside, obviously, but it does speak to how they are so betrothed to Chuba Hubbard. And it was baffling the way that broke down in the playoffs, rather, given, to me, just Rico is so much more of a playoff back. Emmett Johnson coming up here ahead of James Conner. James Conner with the contract, he is going back to Arizona, but definitely a player where with them having Trey Benson, who was so efficient at missing tackles last year, then got hurt, you didn't get a chance to really show what he could do. With Tyler Algier coming in, and that's the first, new regime choice. And Algier, a guy that's going to take away a lot of that red zone work you would think right away. I don't love James Conner as a click this year, so that's that. We got the team so far is a 2-4-6-2. Jaden Daniels, Matthew Stafford. No correlation for these guys, unfortunately. They just projected too well at where they were available. James Cook, Omarion Hampton, Jonathan Brooks, Emmett Johnson here. Emmett Johnson's the one guy, probably somebody who's not getting talked about a lot. ADP stabilizing for him a little bit. But he did get 26 opportunities a game at Nebraska. Did also miss tackles at a 30% clip, so he had some juice there. The rush EPA, 0.09, positive rush EPA at that volume, pretty good. Your target earning pretty good as well, 26% rate there. So if I'm to make the case for Emmett Johnson, that would be it. Do we have any RAS stuff for him offhand? Because I don't recall. Was pretty slow at a 4.55. That's never great to see. If you were to give Mike Washington Jr., the guy who did test so comically fast, numbers like Emmett Johnson had, that'd be the perfect running back. But unfortunately, we live in an imperfect world, guys. All right, let's go back to the board view. Should I get shit-faced March Madness games today? If you have no responsibilities, why not? Why not? Have fun with it. I've personally not been getting shit-faced too often lately. I've been switching to mostly light beers and stuff, or I'll have like one heavy beer and then go down to light. But yeah, sometimes you gotta kick the cobwebs off and do it. I'm definitely never going to be a non-alcoholic guy. Like my wife goes through very long periods of like, just trying to go no drinks at all. And then she'll have like a wine every night. And just really, it's an ebb and flow based on how much work. I think that might just be women, right? It's how much work kicks her ass. Might just be people even. But yeah, so like she'll go through periods of it. I've tried to do NA beers, just never for me. But so I need to have something, but I don't know, man. I can't rip golden monkeys like I used to because it's like fucking 300 calories a beer. Like at some point I just did the math. I'm like, at my age, I cannot keep doing that. And be somewhat functional, not be a fat piece of shit mostly. All right, we got a pick coming up here. We got a 2-4-6-2 here. Tank Dell stack option here. So Brandon Ayuk coming up. What happens to his career? I've not taken Ayuk much this year as a result. Tank Dell here. He does stack technically. Let's do that. Tank Dell, another guy, hopefully full recovery, was apparently looking good at the end of last season, didn't get back in. But Tank Dell, one of those players that hopefully a year removed can be an explosive return to form kind of player at his age. You never know, though. Ayuk still coming up here. Tough to love. Njoku, free agent right now. Where's he going to go? If he goes somewhere good, he doesn't land anywhere, right? Let's go Njoku. Any rumors about Njoku lately? And Eli Stowers, he's a guy I like a lot. Freak athlete who also had a lot of good testing numbers. In general, analytics look good for him as well in terms of targeting and all that. Playing in the SEC as well. He's one of the rookie tight ends I definitely have a little bit more of an eye on. But Njoku, I just feel like it's a better landing spot no matter what. Let's look at Njoku's news lately. Broncos free agent target Njoku, maybe. I feel like he'd always get squeezed by him wanting to play Adam Troutman and the various equivalents way too much. Ravens connected to Njoku. Titans could still pursue Njoku. The Titans were spending money. Not the most exciting coaching hires for me. Was Saleh taking over there. Would have loved to see an offensive-minded situation more in play, but we get what we get. All right, so let me get this team a read too. We're on the draft board, but I've got Jaden Daniels and Stafford, so it'd be nice to get a Washington guy late. Maybe should have waited to reach for Chig. Oh, Chig was already gone. Never mind. Well, fuck that, I guess then. Yeah, so need to get something correlated with Jaden and Stafford, ideally. At RB, Cook, Hampton, Brooks, Emmett Johnson, wide receiver McConkey, Zay, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf, Jaden Reed, Jaden Higgins, double Jadens, actually triple Jadens, with Jaden Higgins, Jaden Reed, Jaden Daniels. We got Tank Dell as well, Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, David Njoku. I'm happy with the team. It's pretty balanced. I think it's still going to force a third QB on me or try to get me to take a third QB. Because of what they represent. I think the logic in that, which again, seeing it in my sim occurring naturally, knowing that had occurred for sidekick users, I think the logic that those guys had given last year about why you get a third QB lot in sims that you just don't know what happens in an NFL season rather. So like you'll have a lot of times in a sim where QB X or Y, your top two QBs, they put up a 0, they're injured, whatever, they miss a couple games, or they just have a shitty game where the running back scores a lot, maybe they just get shut down by a defense. Another QB filling in, giving you 10 points there can be really valuable, even you have to give you 20, 30, even more so. So you'll get a third QB a lot with any sim-based product, like a sidekick, like the best ball champion. But, your mileage may vary because it still does feel a little counterintuitive, I would say. Let's go back here. We got a picks coming up in a little bit. You're pretty good. We're over capital at RB, it looks like, even with only 4 RBs, because we did take 2 in the first 2 rounds. We're good at receiver, good at tight end. Again, think it's going to try to get me to take a third QB, which I'm cool with. Wants me to take Rodgers now, which I'm cool with as well, frankly. Rodgers going back to Pittsburgh. Okay, so here's one where the pick thing didn't work. So right away, you notice it doesn't work. Go over, cue the guy, then pick the guy. Damn it. The pick thing worked 16 out of 17 rounds, though. I feel like it still deserves credit for being that functional. Basically, Underdog, I think, the code doesn't like you using another way to hit their pick button. So I believe that's the reason why. All right, Ray Davis coming up here. Nick Singleton. I do like Singleton, but Ray Davis, still a pathway to a lot of work behind James Cook. And interesting to note that the sim did give me James Cook and Ray Davis together. You're definitely a little bit less verboten to take a handcuff, especially a handcuff that can't have a partial role like Ray Davis. You know, like if Buffalo's going to, I think, keep doing the Ty Johnson experiment forever. But Ty Johnson goes undrafted. But, you know, for Ray Davis here, a couple ways he could win and help you out on the James Cook team. So I don't mind getting him in here. The team so far, a 3-5-7-3 with 2 more rounds to go. We got Jaden Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, our one stacked up QB so far, unfortunately. James Cook, Omarion Hampton, Jonathan Brooks, Emmett Johnson, Ray Davis. So a little bit heavier RB capital than the tool would recommend based on those draft capital buckets. But still, you know, I think the RB room feels good up top and definitely a little more depth still. A receiver, Ladd McConkey, Zay Flowers, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf, Jaden Reed, Jaden Higgins, Tank Dell. Like that team, like the Houston correlation here for these guys. They'll hit theoretically in weeks where Nico and the run game don't hit. Tight end, Kraft, Jake Ferguson, David Njoku. All good to me. Njoku's obviously got to land somewhere, but you do get that discount this time of year for people assuming like, oh, this free agent's never going to sign anywhere. And then Keenan Allen signs and they're like, oh, shit, let's move him up 150 spots. For Njoku being in the 190s, like if he goes anywhere good, if somebody who's a good tight end gets hurt and then he fills in that spot, I don't know what that would be, but like, Brock Bowers gets hurt and then Njoku signs there, he would soar. You'd be like a top 100 pick easy. Thank you for this one for a guy OMG. Notice it's not recommending Trevor Etienne is bugged. Trevor Etienne actually did notice when I was going through some data earlier in the year, has a few decent stats for himself, but still not a guy that we want to get as much as the other Etienne. His ADP is coming up though. You can see the ADP log line here, or spark line. It's moving. Last year, he missed tackles at a 25% clip. That's not bad. Number 37 overall. Avoided tackle rate. Missed a tackle every time he touched the ball and he got a reception. Didn't happen very often. But ATN, yeah, like, frankly, if you're not taking Jonathan Brooks, you're not taking Chuba Hubbard, I don't think ATN's a terrible dice roll in a big board kind of, time of year. But the great irony, of course, OMG harkening back to a DFS slate last year where Rico Dowdle was on the slate, and I was like, I can't imagine not playing Rico Dowdle. He's like the most lock button play ever. It was the week that he went for a zillion yards, 200 whatever yards, broke the slate at Mega Chalk. And the guy was like, I wouldn't play a share Rico Dowdle. I'd rather play Trevor Etienne. One of the worst takes in the history of a chat, of a human being just saying words aloud, really. But that's what you get sometimes. Keenan Allen, how the mighty have fallen, going for free in these draft rooms now. Where is he going to go? I mean, him being gone definitely clears up some room for the Chargers guys that desperately needed Keenan Allen to not keep earning targets like he did last year. Let's see what we get here. I think it's going to give us an RB. Keon Coleman coming up first. Elijah Surratt. All right. Keon Coleman has gotten talked up a lot by Joe Brady. Oh, shit. Shit. No! All right, well, he was the number 2 guy. Well, the pick thing, I feel like it does fail later on in rounds. Maybe I got to refresh or something so it has a better chance of succeeding. Let me refresh the page. Because it might just be like queued up JavaScript makes it not do it as well. Is a possibility here. Let's run this simulation for our last pick in round 20. And we'll do one more draft, guys. If you want to draft along with me, again, showing off my new Best Ball Champion tool here, part of the Splash Play Podcast package you get for yourself at splashplaypodcast.com. Justice Hill, fuck. All right, we got him in. I think it's just end of draft state. I'll look into that. Just something to note, though, that the pick button does fail a little bit later on in a draft. Final team here before we enter another draft. I'll actually enter it in parallel. We got Jane Daniels, Matthew Stafford. Unfortunately, no stack targets came up. They would have gotten the boost if there was anybody even remotely worthwhile. But unfortunately, there just was not in this situation. So those guys go unstacked here, but obviously having good projections on them, having a lot of opportunity for themselves. At RB, we got James Cook, Omarion Hampton, Jonathan Brooks, Emmett Johnson, who does look like one of the more interesting rookies to me based on his ability to miss tackles, EPA metrics, the volume he got. Ray Davis, Justice Hill, late picks here that have mostly contingent upside. Though Justice Hill, I don't know, man. I guess it could be a little bit better with Keaton Mitchell gone, but they could take anybody there to fill that role. It's a whole new coaching staff. That situation could be totally gone for Justice Hill. Receiver, a lot of correlation here with Ladd McConkey, Zay Flowers, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf, Jaden Reed, Jaden Higgins, Tank Dell, Elijah Surratt. So, again, a lot of stacking here. You can see all your stack targets put up top by the Best Ball Champions overlay. That correlation, we didn't get the QB stack. We did get individual little stacks here, and I think that makes up for it. Elijah Surratt as well closed out the receiver room. Probably would have preferred Keon Coleman for his correlation to Buffalo. At tight end, we got Tucker Kraft as part of our Green Bay stacking. Sans Jordan Love, who got taken uncorrelated by somebody else. We got Jake Ferguson, David Njoku here. Again, the 3-6-8-3. Do you think, you could definitely try to make the tool not force yourself to the same 3-6-8-3 build every time, because it does like that build a lot so far, but I'm cool with it. All right, we're in a draft room right now. 6 spots if you want to play with me. One more draft to close us out on this fine Friday. Again, guys, I haven't asked for it at all, but please do show some love if you can. Hit the like button and subscribe. The NFL channel, after being dormant for about a month and a half, a month and a couple weeks, needs your support here. And it might not feel like it matters a lot when you guys hit the like button on the YouTube video, but it really does go a long way for me, really any creator, but especially for somebody like me who has not done NFL videos a little bit here. Got to get the channel going. And in particular for Best Ball, got to get the Best Ball views going, get people to see this new tool that I created, the Best Ball Champion. So show some love if you can. Help me keep doing what I do in here, or what I do here, by hitting the like button and subscribe. And if you guys do that, I'll keep doing more drafts. And if you don't, I'll just say go fuck myself, I guess. I got to do some drafts, though, to promote the tool, but that's that. And real fast, again, if you missed the beginning of the video, my new Best Ball Champion tool you can see here. The last draft just completed, so you can go grab our exposures again. And unlike Underdog, I think they did up the amount of times you get your CSV, but you don't need to grab a CSV. You can just grab our exposure right here with the Best Ball Champion tool. Just hit your bookmarklet, and then boom. Clear your previous exposure. Scrape the page. It tells you down here that it pulled in all your players, and now it's good to go for another draft. So for you guys in particular, our guy Go AZ Cards, looking for it for daily stuff on Underdog, definitely works well for that stuff in terms of keeping your exposures tracked. All right, 3 spots left. If we had the first pick in the draft, it would say take Bijan Robinson. I do expect Bijan to get the ball a lot this year. Losing Algier is so big for Bijan. Obviously Kevin Stefanski has dabbled in split backfields before, but frankly, think when the situation calls for it, when a guy can do everything, even with Judkins at times this year, he's willing to give the ball pretty endlessly to one running back. So for me with Bijan, very easy #1 overall pick, obviously. Jahmyr Gibbs makes it a little bit harder with Montgomery being shipped out of town. Think that does, give Gibbs all the run that we have really seen pop up majorly in projections, week to week when Montgomery's been out sometimes. But I still would be, like every time Bijan's there at the 101, I would take him. Gibbs, getting him at the 102. I haven't got many 102s so far in my draft process, but when I do, I'll go Gibbs. What do you think of CMC as a 101? I wouldn't do it. You ran so hot with him staying healthy last year. Now you're adding, more touchdown-friendly weapons like Mike Evans. Kittle, it seems like his recovery is going to be a little better than expected. He got a lot of work last year. They kept feeding him, but I don't know how you can, in a good conscience, look at this year and go, I'm going to give this guy the same level of work next year. Especially if you have, more depth at receiver, you're a little bit healthier. You're dealing with the Ayuk situation that just ruined a ton of your roster kind of preparation that they had, and just allocation of capital and, how many players they had even that could do stuff on that team. I don't know. I don't see how you possibly make a case for CMC over Bijan or Gibbs. And frankly, to me, I think it's hard to make the case over Jonathan Taylor with them. You're keeping that core together exactly the same. Pierce getting all that money too. Frankly, Pierce is going to be an even more viable downfield target now because they're going to force feed him the ball. That'll clear things up a little bit underneath for Jonathan Taylor. So yeah, I would not make a case for CMC at the 101. I would take him, with the field. I've got him at 7% right now, but yeah. 2 spots left, guys. It is behind my head, so please enter this draft so we can fucking do it. So I can be done. I can start my prep for NBA. One spot left. The goal this year is going to be, guys, I think to do streams now, just based on me kind of mapping through my timing. Probably going to do like Fridays at 10 a.m., I think is what I'm looking at right now. Because I'm going to be planning on doing my MLB streams daily at 12. NBA has been 2 p.m. all year long, and it's going to keep being the case. So that's my schedule, I think, moving forward. Next week, though, probably no NFL stream because I'm going to be out of town with the family. Still going to be doing MLB and NBA streams, I think, but I could skip NFL for 1 week, given that we haven't been doing NFL for a while now. But here we are, brand new draft room, pick it in the 8th spot, so we'll see what we get. And let me pull up this draft board as well, so I could switch back and forth, because I feel like visually that worked, right? Let's go over here. Anything else the best ball champion I haven't shown you guys? Let me think. Well, you're on screen. Again, you can see the exposure you have. You can see the little SP badge that opens up player details in here. You can see Bijan's ADP, his EPA numbers, key stats, and all that. You'll see news and tweets about Bijan, the most recent ones. I don't know why it's not loading. There we go. I think the Google News part might be broken right now for some reason. It worked before. It's probably just an issue on their end. And the draft capital thing is the biggest part. That's VIP only. So keep that in mind if you join through splashplaypodcast.com. Check it out for yourself. Learn more at bestballchampion.com as well if you want to see the full spiel landing page that me and Claude put together. Me and Claude vibing, you know. All right, let's go back to the board page. Puka goes 101 in this room. It's a tough top 5 this year. Like JSN, I really would worry about losing losing Kubiak with what he showed last year. Losing Walker too, like the RB situation, they got to take somebody at decent draft capital with Charbonnet coming off his knee injury. Like George Holani, I think is getting drafted, somewhat in drafts right now, but I don't think he's really a guy you can roll into the season as like your lead back while your other guys recovering. Losing the scheme, losing all that stuff for JSN, I worry about it a little bit because so much of his game last year was built to just getting fed the ball endlessly. All right, CeeDee Lamb, our top ADP guy, comes up at number 1. So easy click here. Sometimes Amon-Ra sims better than CeeDee Lamb. I don't really know why. But they're close enough here with Lamb coming up at 34%, Amon-Ra at 32%. Pretty similar players. A little bit of time before we pick here. CeeDee Lamb, obviously last year, one of the guys that I feel like he should have had a better year given what that Dallas offense was. Like he and Pickens both. The one thing I will say for them, you might have seen the clip on social media, but Pickens and actually let's go back to this view for right now because you can't really see the top picks. Pickens and CeeDee Lamb hanging out in the off season, like driving around shopping, I think is what they're doing, which whatever. But like it's not a bad vibe for Dallas. But for CeeDee Lamb, with how good this team was last year, it feels like Pickens had a lot of the bigger, spike games over and over again. I would think that if the offense does what it did last year again, you should see Lamb have more of the upside. So like getting him at 1.8, I think feels pretty good. Not as into Javonte Williams at his ADP, but he got, decently paid this offseason as well. I feel like the Cowboys last year, we talked about a lot during the DFS streams, but generally just not like a team that I would define as good. And then the defense was so bad, but if the defense is just a little bit better, then some of those guys will be less valuable inherently. Or Jeremiah Love coming up as a top option here. Right now, I've got 14% that I'll add one more on. Pick 17, pairing him with CeeDee Lamb here. Jeremiah Love, all the expectations that he's going to be, a top 5 pick. Let's see what the latest mocks are. All right, Daniel Jeremiah did a mock draft a couple of days ago, it looks like. He had his fellow Jeremiah going at pick 4 to the Titans. I mean, Titans, I do think, even though they are spending a lot to seemingly improve Cam Ward's situation, do you think the defense will be better? Do you think with Saleh as the coach, going to be a team that you will try to, get the running game going a lot more generally? Jeremiah Love, to me, let's pull up my college data real fast because I do want to like make a take and I want to come about it the right way. All right, so my college data also part of the Squirt Squad tier package or the VIP tier package at splashplaypodcast.com. So Jeremiah Love, let's pull in historical guys as well. So Jeremiah Love, EPA-wise, top EPA per run guy was Travion Henderson, but not getting nearly the volume that Love did at 19.3 opportunities a game, 17 rushes a game. Ashton Genty, he did miss more tackles, but he was a bit less efficient. Had more volume, though. Jeremiah Love, though, infinitely better in the pass game. 0.4 EPA per target compared to negative 0.2 for Genty. So, yeah, I would say it. Jeremiah Love, and I wanted to make sure, especially compared to Genty. Jeremiah Love, I think, the best rookie prospect out of all the times I've been tracking rookies. And, like, obviously, I love my Bucky Irving types. Like, still think that guys like that, you get targets, get decent, touch earning, and also very efficient EPA-wise and avoid tackles. Like, doesn't matter what their size is. They're going to find a way to contribute. Cam Scadaboo being the equivalent of that last year that I also highlighted on stream. But Jeremiah Love is the best version of all of it. So, like, if he goes top 5 to the Titans, whatever, he's worth that. The pick that's now cheaper than where Genty went last year. Like, and he's a better prospect than Genty, and I think in a better situation too, because they've just spent more on everything. All right, let's sim this out here. We got one RB with Love, one wide receiver with CeeDee Lamb. It thinks RB is the best pick here right now. Wow. All right. I think that is a little bit of a projection deference there, but also maybe an acknowledgement that getting RB capital out of the way easier than getting receiver capital. We did take receiver number 1, so taking 2 RBs in a row. I think the sim that I have put together here at the Best Ball Champion, it does like that. So Jeremiah Love, Kyren Williams, CeeDee Lamb start. I didn't change my view here, but I ran the sim, as you can see. But yeah, cool with that start. Did I come up with my own starting percent chance for the late round QB guys? Rodgers, Watson, Shador, Falcons, etc. No. I mean, Rodgers, I would think starts. I think he's going to be back there doing what he did last year. Watson, Shador, I don't really have a lean. Falcons, it's because right now, basically, it accounts for Underdog's projection as part of it. Underdog thinks that Penix is going to play, and it doesn't think that Tua is going to play, I think, much, if at all. I know they gave Tua an 81 projection, but Penix has 160. So it's generally going to give you Penix when Penix is available over Tua. But that's where you have to put in the human part of things. And if you don't want to get Penix all the time, you want to get more Tua to represent that that's like maybe a coin toss in your mind, then you could do that more. All right, Davante Adams, the pick here at pick 41. A little bit ahead of ADP, but liked him more than Zay Flowers because of the correlation with Kyren Williams. So he got the boost. Again, you can see how stacking works here. Normally, Zay Flowers would come up with a higher sim win rate, but because we have the slight boost for Davante Adams, he comes up at a 42% win rate here for being a better marginal value than Zay Flowers. All right, back to this view here. And also part of why I want to do a second draft on stream today, guys, because I think when you see the sim tool work, you get how it works. And the big thing is if you went all the way down the board here, it's going to show guys having 0.2% rate of being the best pick, 0% chance. If you take this guy, you probably don't want to take a guy 11 picks early normally. But let's say this is a player who's falling in ADP, and the guy for some reason simmed really poorly. Just take the guy and the sim will adapt around you. And in fact, you'll see it adapt around you too, which I think is probably a valuable part of the experience. You'll see what the teams look like when you do different stuff and you get off its comfortable beaten path of what it gives you. But I like the start so far with Love and Kyren. Of course, Kyren's workload certainly fickle last year when you did have situations where you had Blake Corum being a little bit more effective. But he still finished the year with 18 touches a game, 3 red zone opportunities a game in the run game, 0.6 red zone targets a game. His red zone rushes per game were also 9th best in the league. So, I think for Kyren, always a concern that Corum, if he plays better and improves year to year, you can take that work away from Kyren to some extent. With how much you're paying Kyren, though, I think you're guaranteed a good amount of work. And certainly, the upside that's worth, to me, 32 to 35 pick where he's going. See if we could pick right now. Sim would say we should go Cam Scadaboo. Scadaboo, a lot of reports of them wanting to take an early RB to pair with him. Again, another thing where the coaching staff changing over. I thought Scadaboo was really good last year, but there's definitely a commitment to using him a lot more that isn't guaranteed when you bring new coaches in and they like different things. But you know, Scadaboo probably gonna be the top sim pick here if I had to guess. And I think it's gonna make me pretty much done at RB if we do that. Do you like Christian Watson still? But I think I've got enough. So we'll go Cam Scadaboo, taking the top guy, and we'll see how the team looks at the end. We got Jeremiah Love, Kyron Williams, Cam Scadaboo is our RB room here. CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, two guys who should, have a pretty good shot of making, as long as they're healthy, making making the lineup rather week to week. I was gonna say making a winning roster, but making a good lineup week to week. So I'm cool with the start. A little more RB heavy for sure. Like at this point, I think it might say draft capital wise, we don't need another RB. Yeah. 137 draft capital spent, so we are now in the safe zone for RB. Relative to a 20-round draft. But 3 RB start. All right. We got another pick coming up here. Brian Thomas coming up. Trade rumors were swirling around him for a little bit. But it does seem like he'll be stuck in Jacksonville / staying in Jacksonville. They paid Jacoby Myers that new money. Parker Washington earned his role. Travis Hunter, I still don't think going to be meaningfully involved, but he can be. All right, so it really likes QB here, I think, if the right QB is available. Jalen Hurts, Caleb, Drake May. Am I missing out by taking Brian Thomas on Brian Thomas? No, I don't think so. I'll go Hurts. Could potentially also luck out, get Philly Giants in week 17 or Philly Dallas in week 17, so that's not bad. So we got right now the team: Hurts, Jeremiah Love, Kyron, Cam Scadaboo, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams. Good question by Copy Paste, and I appreciate you asking it. Do I have to spend credits every time you user simulates? It's Claude. No, it's not an agent. It's just a simulation tool that uses projections and ADP signaling to kind of put together a sim. But yeah, no. And theoretically too, as Underdog's projections get better, as ADPs get better, it'll also get better because that's the two main market signals it's taken. But yeah, no, thankfully, no, I do not spend credits on it. The only thing I currently use agent credits on is for NBA. I have an AI minutes agent tool that looks through all the last 10 games of data, as well as like when players have missed games throughout the year, like who fills in for them. And then it comes up with a baseline of minutes for me to compare to Stochastic. That's the only agentic thing I have right now in my flow. But you could build one that does do it, but it would be like, you'd have to use Haiku and it wouldn't be great. I wouldn't trust it as much as I do this sim, which is built off of my NBA sim, which is loosely based off of what I know of the Solvers sim and the Stochastic sim and Saber sim and how they all work. Yeah, so it was like really a big thing for you. It's like getting speed right and accuracy right, and that's what we got with this. I appreciate the good question, though. Some point, though, if you guys actually are curious, I can walk you guys through what I do with Claude to use it, because all my stuff has been built through Claude. I've gotten, I think, pretty good at it. Was actually talking about with one of my friends who I'd worked on my site probably with, and he was saying, and thankfully, like, I never said it to him because I didn't want to be mean, but like he mentioned, he was building just for his own edification, building a prototype of probably through Claude that would end up costing like $100 a month, as opposed to like the literal fucking $3,000 a month I had to pay for various data providers and AWS costs on top of that. So it's like crazy to see. Obviously, also really tilted to see, given the fact that was the reason we didn't keep probably going, was that just couldn't afford the overhead relative to what we were bringing in revenue wise. But with splashlypodcast.com now, like it's so easy to build stuff that I would have liked to build with that. As long as you're willing to, again, bang your head against the wall for a little bit, pay for max, and do it for like a couple of days straight almost, you'll get what you want out of it. So obviously I recommend you guys use my tools and stuff. Like really, if you want to build something for yourself that like had an agentic component to it, it's not that hard. At least definitely not as hard as it was even a year ago. I used that Replit tool, replit.com, like a year ago, and it was so much worse. Like it was okay. Like I got shit done. I got a few things that I thought were pretty cool. But like nothing compared to what I've built now. Like my NBA DFS sim is not me like throwing shade at anybody. My NBA DFS sim runs 100,000 sims at the same time. Stochastic sim runs 10,000, and obviously they're doing different stuff. I'm sure on the back end they might be taking different data points and whatever. But you can figure that stuff out now, where their thing was built by like a data team that I don't think is really there anymore. I don't know. Yeah, but like versus what Claude can build, and he's building the most that slash Codex too with ChatGPT, similar things. I just don't like ChatGPT for the reasons you might guess. And Claude's just been better for me as well. Anyway, 1320 here. All right, so we got Parker Washington up top, Ricky Pearsall behind him. I do get Parker Washington a decent amount here, but I like him. Honestly, he kept being a player that projection wise, week after week down the home stretch last year, like shockingly kept popping up to me. I feel like he's a little more valuable on a DraftKings. We get that full point PPR, a little bit less touchdown equity. But frankly, with how good Jacksonville looked last year, I don't think they're going to be much worse this year. You're losing ATN. We'll see what they replace him with. The assumption right now, ADP wise, is Bashal Tootin. I don't know if I'd make that assumption. If it is Tootin, he's going to have massive upside because that team, I think, will continue to be improved. And Tootin showed enough last year that if you give him the ATN role, he'll be worthwhile. But yeah, for Parker Washington, the role feels a little bit flimsy because there's no money tied to him really that matters. But man, he was good last year, relatively. Oh, do I mean HN? Yeah. Well, like the way that he explained it was weird because like there was sort of a subliminal level to like him mentioning that it really wasn't his family's name because obviously his people came over and maybe didn't have a lot of freedom. If we're gonna say it, not make it too weird of a talking point. But yeah, HN, I still think that's odd for me to switch now. But he also didn't seem like he cared because given the context of his last name, so it is what it is. Chris Rodriguez to the moon. Yeah, there was an old clip I saw on social media of back when they were at Kentucky together. Liam Cohen was like talking about Chris Rodriguez and giving him the damn ball to like some Kentucky podcaster. It's like he loves Chris Rodriguez. I do think the touchdown equity for Tootin, if they don't, even if they don't bring another back, I would worry a little bit about how that looks for with Rodriguez being in there because he is like your goal line hammer back, like kind of classic one. Trevor Lawrence is here, which we can correlate with our Jacksonville stuff. Tucker Kraft is the key ADP pick. I'm going to overrule and go Trevor Lawrence. I would like to get more Trevor Lawrence. The rushing, like the desperation rushing upside he showed at the end of last year too, I thought was pretty noteworthy in terms of spiking upside in a way. Like obviously he advanced a ton of teams in week 15 or whatever that was with the 45-point game he had. I think in particular for Jacksonville, if you do run into this year, with the Tootin and Chris Rodriguez backfield, both those guys were at major risk of getting vultured by Trevor Lawrence over and over again because like he's the alpha dog in that team right now. So yeah, I don't know. For Trevor Lawrence, to me, I think he's a really good pick this year and really thought he was disappointing in the front half of last year, but he visually and I think results wise figured it out in a way that not a lot of other QBs did in the back half of last year. Wan'Dale Robinson going here as a top 90 pick. Obviously moving to Tennessee. I like the move for him. Do think that he'll probably be your alpha target earner for the team. Do you think it's going to be a little more of a low-risk offense with the kind of coaches they're bringing in there? With Salah in particular helming things, but Wan'Dale Robinson getting big money. He was great last year. He was one of my key players that did help me have those teams be top 100 in best ball last season. So for Wan'Dale, I definitely have positive vibes for him. And one of the reasons I started to take him more down the stretch of best ball last year was like, oh, what can he do if Malik Neighbors gets hurt? Like it could be really important for Wan'Dale then come the end of the season. That ended up being what happened. But now he's got his own team where he's like your top burner and they're going to play him out wide, apparently. Going to obviously play him a lot in the slot. I think he'll get fed targets. Might be another guy who's more of a DraftKings play, but whatever. This motherfucker takes Stafford. I mean, it doesn't matter because we got Trevor Lawrence, but would have been logical to pair, the Rams guys at some point with Stafford. But this guy had to take him unstacked ahead of ADP because that's the world we live in. We'll run a sim for our next pick coming up here after Miracle Matt takes his guy ahead of us. Definitely wants tight end here. The sim gets a little bit desperate for tight ends if you go a little bit too long without him. And we got Sam Laporta right here. Done and done. So Sam Laporta, no correlation. We'll have a chance at Dallas Goedert coming up at pick 138, as you can see over here. And our Jalen Hurts stack. Just going to refresh it here. There we go. Let's go over to the board. Lots of naked QBs this year. Thanks, Pat. I mean, look, I get it too, because now that I built my own sim, I see the same things occur. So like, I understand. But like, it's hard to tell too, like who's building a sidekick team, who's building just a dumb asshole team. It's hard to say. Part of why, too, though, I was happy to get Trevor Lawrence where I did because I was not confident getting Stafford back. I don't know if I would have gotten Stafford back, maybe, if I didn't take Lawrence, but we'll never know now. Team so far, though, is a 2-3-3-1. Again, mostly taking the top pick on the board, though I did take Trevor Lawrence early, so I am officially not listening to my product after my second draft, or in the midst of my second draft on stream for the year. We got Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Jeremiah Love, Kyron Williams, Cam Scatterboog, and decent RB capital up top here, so we're not going to get a lot of RBs coming up anytime soon. Lamb, Devontae Adams, Parker Washington at receiver. Tight end here, Sam Laporta. Again, I think the data will, or the sim rather, will feel okay about us taking receiver a little bit more in these spots coming up. But let's see what it gives us. Oh, still pushing tight end here. Matthew Golden at number 2. Sim it one more time. You'll see, too, the sim percentages do move like a couple percentage points each time, just because it is, a fresh sim. It really wants Gadsden for me. I hate only having 3 receivers at this point, but, we did take CeeDee Lamb in the first round, did take Devontae Adams in the top 40. We got Parker Washington on here as well, so I get why it's doing that, but it feels a little bit weird to me. When using Claude, what process should I use to learn it? It's a tough question to answer overall. You should just talk to it, have it try to do stuff for you that's like low lift kind of projects. Start with something easy, then try to learn how to, do more complicated things on top of that. I've learned a lot of stuff that goes along with it, since starting with Claude, where I now have a deploy environment. I use Netlify for that. If anybody's curious, you can deploy zip files or your own project folders, from the coding on your computer. But I would start just with the chat mode, like use Claude chat mode, talk to it, write a plan for it in particular so it knows what you want to accomplish with whatever you're trying to build, and then do that. It can also do stuff too, like if you just want to learn stretches, like I think ChatGPT might be better for that kind of stuff. Like you just want to have a stretch for your like a pain point you have. You can do stuff like that. You can use it for legal stuff, theoretically, if you wanted to. Does a good job of that, even though you're not supposed to. You can. But yeah, for me, like coding wise, just start with small stuff, build out a feature, and then add a bunch of features together, and then you have, like a site. And one thing I'm going to try to work on for our household actually is like something that uses Whole Foods API to like create meal plans based off what's available inventory wise. So we could just take one thing off like my wife's plate because she gets really stressed about having to plan meals and stuff. So that's the kind of thing you could build like, pretty easily if you know what you're doing, I think. Yeah, now's the time. Like really, more than ever. Like you're not too late. You're probably a little bit too late, but you're never too late really, because like AI will be the most important thing of our lives in the next few generations, and like you want to get better at it than not. And I've seen too in some some discords I'm in, people using AI stuff and Claude in particular and using it in real dumb shit ways. You got to be mindful of like having best practices that you're aware of from either domain expertise or other products that are out there that you can lean on for how they work. The code itself though will mostly be sound, and make sure you don't ever put security codes into AI. Use a stored environment or something. Stored environment variable, I think is what it's called on Netlify. But like for my GitHub stuff, like I have security stuff safely, put away, that kind of thing. All right, Jaden Higgins coming up. Khalil Shakir coming up. I'll go Higgins. Don't mind Shakir. I should probably put exposure on here too, so you know what your exposure is before you click the guy. I'll add that. All right, the team so far. We got a 2-3-4-2 build, again, making it up at receiver right now, but still a couple of decent projected receivers here that will be our highest marginal value in the next few rounds. We got Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence is stacked up, as you can note by the pancake emoji and the Jacksonville X2. Jeremiah Love, Kyron Williams, and Cam Scatterboog. At receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Parker Washington, Jaden Higgins. And then tight end, Sam Laporta, Oronde Gadsden. So, again, a nice balanced team here for the most part. Feel like we could have used some more early receiver capital. The 3 early RBs. I think the sim just liked getting these guys with decent projections around ADP, but we'll still get where we need to go, I think. Jacory Krosky-Merritt on here now. Still an appealing pick, I think, at this point. Losing Chris Rodriguez doesn't hurt. But for Krosky-Merritt, certainly they can replace him with somebody better in this draft class, I think, fairly easily. Kenya Sadiq goes here. I think he's a really compelling tight end prospect, given his athletic testing in particular. Still think Eli Stowers, though, in year one could end up being better. All right, we got Juwan Jennings is my top pick. Let me run one more sim here. Let's see if that holds. Juwan Jennings, Denzel Boston. Rashid Shaheed on the way up. I'm going to go Rashid Shaheed. I think I just like to get a little bit more of him. Fate chance we get some Rams Seattle stuff in week 17 as well. But I like Shaheed, and I would like to get my exposure up. Juwan Jennings, I just don't know where he's going to go. And if he, depending on where he goes, I don't know if he'll be nearly as valued as he was in San Francisco. So for Juwan Jennings, to me, again, he's a discount relative to ADP, but I'm okay getting more Shaheed and letting Jennings kind of fall a little bit more. Let's go back to the board view. Good shout out to all you guys watching live, and all you guys, I'm sure a lot more will watch after the fact. Please help me out here, hit the like button, subscribe. The channel's been sitting dormant for about 6 weeks, so getting this channel kickstarted, it's like shocking somebody who just had a heart attack. We got to defib the channel, so please help me out, hit the like button, subscribe. It might feel like it's just a vanity metric, like it doesn't matter, but I learned from the NBA channel, the more likes I get, the more views I get, and the more views I get, the more revenue I get, both through the YouTube ads, as well as selling memberships to my new splashplaypodcast.com site, as well as stuff like the Best Ball Champion tool that you're seeing here on stream. So check it out for yourself. Well, check it out for yourself. I'll do that plug in a minute. But hit the like button, subscribe, do that stuff first and foremost. It does go a long way. And check out Splash Play. So right now you can still buy a membership through YouTube if you want. It's more expensive because YouTube charges more VIG, and also Apple charges more on top of it if you buy through Apple on YouTube. So go to my site, splashplaypodcast.com. It's at least $10 cheaper for the VIP tier and for the Squirt Squad tier. $20 a month if you want to get the Best Ball Champion tool, the simple version of it where it's not showing sim stuff. It shows you all the other market data, that stuff. But also if you want the VIP tools, it's not just the Best Ball Champion thing I'm showing you here on screen. It's everything I create for NBA and MLB right now. So really think it's easily the best deal in the business. Obviously, you know, the Sidekick, going to be a similar product. If you pay for a year of the Sidekick, you're still paying $40 a month, and you're definitely not getting NBA DFS and MLB DFS tools. That's a great tool as well. So use them both if you can afford it. But check out what I'm doing at splashplaypodcast.com. I'm really trying to get you guys in for year one so we can make this look good. And I'm never going to fleece you guys. At the very least, like, I'll raise rates for NFL this year just because it's going to be 3 products going at once. But you know, like, probably not that much. I just need to make sure that everything is moving in the right direction is mostly the goal here. I mean, one person shop, guys, and at some point we'd like to add a second person, but for right now, just one person here, trying to keep it afloat. Run this sim again here. Brenton Strange, number 1 guy here. We obviously do have the Jacksonville correlation. We have 2 tight ends, but did take them a little bit later. So we got Sam Laporta, Oronde Gadsden, Brenton Strange, double stack with Jacksonville. We got Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence as our QBs. RB, Jeremiah Love, Kyron Williams, Cam Scattaboo. 3 of these guys rather in the top 55 picks. A receiver, we got CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Parker Washington, Jaden Higgins, Rashid Shaheed. And a tight end, Sam Laporta, Oronde Gadsden, Brenton Strange. Happy with the team. Shout out Crossface in here at the 2-hole. Glad to see you in here. You got Juwan Jennings with a nice discount finally. Hopefully you'll go somewhere good for you. But yeah, you're getting to compete against my Best Ball Champion tools. That's the downside for you, Crossface here. Unfortunately, you're not going to advance here because clearly the sim tool I created in Claude is now the best drafter we possibly have. Shout out Pat watching live. I appreciate that a bunch. Jennings to Eagles after they trade AJ. That would be a nice landing spot for him. Though it seems like based on the offseason whispers, they just kind of want to feed the ball to Devontae Smith more and see what happens. Bringing Goddard in too. Can be your easy number 2 target. Hollywood Brown being there. I don't think that matters too much because they could definitely use him as a 3rd receiver if they can't get rid of A.J. Brown. But Brown to the Patriots still feels like a very easy one because they still want to get that outside receiver of quality, I feel like. And now no Diggs there, obviously. All right, we got a 2-3-5-3 build here. Running the sim. It says Daniel Jones for QB3. Woody Marks to correlate, but I'll listen to it. I'll take Daniel Jones. Again, we're just mostly listening to the sim here besides me deviating for Trevor Lawrence earlier. So now a 3-3-5-3 build, and I think we hit our draft capital across every position. Yeah, green everywhere. Feels good when you get green everywhere. So at least according to what the draft capital buckets are, again, based off of Leone's initial modeling and then some updates for the most recent couple years. Mostly just having it look and confirm the data looked okay. So for I think how it looks, this is what a good team theoretically looks like. A 3-3-5-3. And shout out Kendrick. Appreciate seeing you here bright and early. BBM 7 winner, heard it here first. I'm going to win BBM, and it's going to be because I didn't make any choices this year. It's because I built a product that's smarter than me and works better. It's going to be what happens. But our team right now, we got Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones is our QB room. At RB, Jeremiah Love, Kyron Williams, Cam Scattaboo. Receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Parker Washington, Jaden Higgins, Rashid Shaheed. Definitely feel like we need some more volume at receiver. No, technically we did hit our draft capital, largely because CeeDee Lamb being the #1 overall pick for us, that's part of it. Tight end, Sam Laporta, Aranda Gadsden, Brenton Strange. I think the stacking, not as matchy. Even, positionally, like we had a lot of inner, correlation with mini stacks on the last team. We're not really getting that in this one, but still getting some correlation, still getting a team that I think is nicely balanced. It's what I'm looking for, is just getting this across my entire portfolio with as little thought as possible. Sometimes little effort as possible, but, I'll develop more of a fine-tooth comb for things, I think, as we go. Manuel Wilson going here. One of Seattle's new depth pieces. Clearing the way for Marshawn Lloyd this year, perhaps. I will say, if you are in the 20th round, unfortunately, the best ball champion is going to try to give you Marshawn Lloyd. That's not like a fun Easter egg I tried to give you guys. It is just the thing I've noticed from both our guy Robert from the Turd on DraftKings, and then I did a DraftKings draft, so got him on there. Underdog, same thing in the big board. Chris Brooks, you get evenly, because it's just saying, hey, there's opportunity with the Packers. But yeah, Marshawn Lloyd will come up for you. You feel free not to click him, though. There's no law saying that you have to click him. All right. Isaac Tesla coming up with the most, 28% sim rate. We do need more depth at receiver, so easy click to go to Tesla here. And technically, we do have correlation as well with Sam Laporta, so if any touchdowns are going through the pass game, not to JMO, not to Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe we can capture him here. But it is one thing that sims generally do like, whether it's my sim or the sidekick. I think it's going to give you those a little bit more. And if any of you guys out there, by the way, do have the sidekick and you also sign up for this, feel free to compare them. Let me know what you think is better and worse, because I'm very open to feedback here. And, can iterate on stuff really quickly. So very much I wouldn't even say it's beta. Like this is the product, but I'm always happy to tweak things to improve them and make them better. Calvin Ridley going. He's going back to Tennessee as well. Hard to love Calvin Ridley, just given how not great he was last year. But the offense should be better, should run better. We'll see. All right, pick coming up here. 3-3-6-3 build, but we spent a lot of early RB capital, so it could go any direction, really. It's going Tank Bigsby here for some Jalen Hurts correlation. Kamara might retire. Normally, I'd say scoop up your Kamara types, but I am not confident that he's coming back to the NFL. He said he never wanted to play anywhere besides New Orleans. Now New Orleans added another piece, and they are not talking publicly about what's going on with Kamara. Still a chance he could get traded somewhere, and he could be like a guy that then has like a top 70 ADP, and you're getting him at pick 190. But I think you're taking on some risk with that right now. I should have switched over here first. Sorry, guys. I'm still getting used to the now using this board for the primary view. Let's give my team a read, though. Switch you back over here. We got Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Jeremiah Love, Kyron Williams, Cam Scattaboo, Tank Bigsby. Receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Parker Washington, Jaden Higgins, Rashid Shaheed, Isaac Tesla. And then a tight end, Laporta, Gadsden, Strange. Tight end room popping to me. QB room popping. If the RBs, if the top 3 is good, this hits. If the top 3 isn't good enough, then whatever. But I feel like as long as these guys are healthy, this feels like an advancing RB room to me, given what the draft capital is going to be for Jeremiah Love. Receiver, CeeDee Lamb, cool up top. Adams, as long as they don't trade for A.J. Brown, he'll be fine as my number 2 option. Touchdown equity probably won't be as high as last year, just because it was so high. I like this team. I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like obviously psychologically on some level I have to be biased to this tool that I created and I'm trying to sell you guys. But I really been like, I look at the teams that it's building. I'm like, fuck, it's not a team I would have built because like I'm not going to take 3 RBs in a row when I only have 1 receiver or 2 receivers. Um, but it does that, and like the teams look better for it. Or taking that third QB, taking Daniel Jones out of nowhere. I wouldn't do that either. So I feel good about the texture it gives. It's just, you know, how much do you deviate? How much do you want to deviate? I obviously want to see my results from doing an entire year of drafts on this. Ideally, multiple years is where you know, would want to see things accumulate more. But we're trying. All right. Darnell Mooney coming up here, new Giants receiver. We do have some correlation here with Cam Scattaboo. Darnell Mooney should get the opportunity that, you know, Darius Slayton's going to most likely leave behind, though I think he is still technically on the roster. He was terrible last year, though. Darnell Mooney, those games where Atlanta was down to nobody, he was just so bad. Honestly, we could look at Darnell Mooney's numbers real fast because he was like comically bad last year. Your .07 EPA per pass for a deep target is just awful. 4.8 targets a game, 17% target per out run. Didn't really miss tackles either. Not that that matters too much. 0.5 red zone targets a game. Like the definition of just replacement level was Darnell Mooney last year. But he tricked another team into paying him money to be their deep target. So more power to him. Also, here are the stats I was looking up on the Best Ball Champion tool. Sorry. Got to get used to switching back and forth between these two. All gain of function research into rare tick diseases needs to end right now. Of course, our guy Adam always loves giving us some. Used to be, you know, unique to be putting AI quotes in the chat, but now you're just now you have a million people doing that. But yes, it should end right now. There was some story I saw on I think it was from Australia of like a guy who used AI tools to develop a like a I don't know if it's a cure. It was like a cancer remedy for his dog. And he used like some advanced AI tool in addition to, I think, Claude to determine like the gene sequencing, and it worked out. Dogs, it's totally different than human stuff. So don't get like too much hope on that front. Like there's a lot of cool shit people are doing with AI that is not best ball simulation tools. All right, who do we got here? Clock's ticking. Katron Allen. Okay. Oh, I'm going to go with Quinn Allen instead, actually. LeQuint had not as a top option. I mean, Katron, I do think is a rookie that looks pretty good, but I'd rather get Jacksonville correlation. And I panicked because I wasn't confident it was going to hit the pick button in time. So I went LeQuint Allen. So he will be our 5th RB in. Might be a little bit outside of the draft capital window now with that extra RB pick, but again, it's still easy to get a nice 3-6-8-3 build. All right, we're still good. Still green for everything. Think at least one more receiver in these last 2 rounds for sure. And we're maxed at QB and tight end in terms of how it views things, but we could take a 4th tight end and not feel too bad about it. Let's look at these last 2 rounds in the board view. And again, guys, if you hop off the video or before you do, please hit that like button. Subscribe goes a long way for me here. Again, I'm just one guy showing you my work across best ball now, every day as well, across the NBA, DFS landscape, prop betting. You can use my data for that too for NBA on the @SplashPlay Bets channel. MLB streams too, starting daily as well, 12 p.m. every day for MLB starting on opening day. They're going to have 2 streams next week for MLB. But stay tuned on the @SplashPlay Bets channel if you want my daily DFS content. And of course, best ball will be keep rolling on, hopefully on a weekly cadence starting soon. Probably after next week. We'll be starting on weekly best ball drafts. I think at 10 a.m. probably is going to be the time frame, but we'll see. All right. Simming our 19th round pick here. Can take another RB. Another wide receiver would not be bad either. Singleton is the pick. All right, and there we go. It selected him. Sometimes it doesn't work in the late round. Sometimes it's fine. I don't know why. Hi, I'm late. Hope everybody is enjoying some BBC to fill the holes in their lives. Yeah, I started early today because just realized it would be easier for me to get my NBA stuff done if I didn't stream at 12. And I wanted to try to put 2 drafts up today, and we've done that, so it's good. Also, wanted to keep in mind, guys, this year, at least for the big board, only 20-second clocks. You still have your slow drafts, but you now don't get the choice of 30 seconds anymore. So part of the reason, too, the sim running so fast, like priority number 1, is because of the fact you just do not have a lot of time these days to make that work. So keep that in mind for yourselves out there. Got a couple more picks till our last one here. Would think it's going to give me a receiver. You could run the sim early. Why not? Underdog, a bunch of quick finishers to 20-second clocks. That's why you got to bring in the BBC. Finish them off. Get the job done faster and more painfully. We got Calvin Austin, another Giants acquisition in the offseason here, so we can just corner the market on shitty receivers that the Giants have added. And I think we'll do that. Oh, he's not selected him naturally. Is it maybe the third on him that's fucking up? I don't know. Anyway, Calvin Austin, still got him in time. Okay, just really be careful in the late rounds if you use the pick button. It seems like it's got no issues in the first 15 rounds, and after that, it's a little bit of a dice roll. But the final team here, did we hit all of our draft capital buckets? Let's find that out first. Think we did. Okay, the goal when you sim it out with the VIP level of the best ball champion is to see it all be green. So we got all green here. The team is a 3-6-8-3. We got Jalen Hurts lightly stacked up with Tank Bigsby. Trevor Lawrence, we got a triple stack with him on top. Here's our number 2 QB. Daniel Jones, and not getting any correlation with him. All of his good targets go too early. And by all his good targets, I mean in particular Alec Pierce. Though Josh Downs just didn't get the window for him. Jeremiah Love at RB, Kyron Williams, Cam Scatterbo, Tank Bigsby, LaQuint Allen, and Nick Singleton. LaQuint Allen, one of the only guys I really overruled the best ball champion on here. CeeDee Lamb at receiver, Devontae Adams, Parker Washington, Jaden Higgins, Rashid Shaheed, Isaac Tesla, Darnell Mooney, and Calvin Austin are 2 free Giants correlating theoretically with Cam Scatterbo. And a tight end, Sam Laporta, Oronde Gadsden, Brenton Strange. Look, the 2 late Giants, they could be absolute zeros this year because if Malik Neighbors is like as good as he should be, and if it's a Jim Harbaugh offense like we've seen, like might just be one receiver who's useful, kind of like your Zay Flowers equivalent would be Neighbors, but better would be my guess. But I think we got nice stuff. Like we got correlation, we got guys after ADP, we got good balanced draft capital, hit everything's like we're supposed to here. This is what you get, hopefully, with the Best Ball Champion tool. So one quick ask, guys, before we close out the video, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really goes a long way for me here as we're trying to get this NFL channel going again. Took a few weeks off to build this tool out to find what I wanted to do this best ball season, and now I know what I want to do. Really enjoying drafts this year. I'm going to keep showing you guys my work across the NFL this offseason, so please show some love back by hitting that like button and subscribing so we keep fighting the good fight against the YouTube algorithm on this NFL channel. If you want to check out Stochastic, you can as well. 15% off, another great way to support the show. But the big thing is going to splashplaypodcast.com. Ignore the NBA graphic on there because it is for NFL as well. You got both. You got the Splash Play. There we go. But the Best Ball Champion, my brand new tool. Actually, I will show you guys the website here at bestballchampion.com because I want you guys to see what you can really look up for yourself. You learn all about it here. Again, built the tool with really all of you guys in mind, mostly my own draft process in mind as well, of making it be good. It's not something that's like just relying on my own takes or even my rankings. It uses market-based signal as well as projections that are created on Underdog and DraftKings whenever they put theirs out to kind of give you a read on what these should be, sims it all together into one bowl based upon how trajectories for ADP are moving and stuff like that. It's a really advanced tool, but it's pretty cool. The exposure tracking alone, the ADP look that you get in line there, that's stuff that's going to make you draft better players alone, better teams alone. You can still see my Spags composite scores as well, which combine EPA metrics with volume and efficiency, other metrics as well. And again, the sims thing is a big part. 10,000 sims run in real time with log normal scoring. As you can see here, correlation engine will get you about 3 seconds of time simming on Mac. I think it's like 3.5 to 4 on a PC. But check it out for yourself. Really, I think a very cool tool here. You go all the way down. It's very simple to install. It's just a bookmarklet, not a Chrome extension. And then you can choose your plan here. Again, $20 a month, $40 a month. And then you also get all my NBA DFS and MLB DFS stuff lumped in with these packages. So hopefully the best deal you can find. Check it out for yourself. Hope that helps out. Beast Tight End Room says, Pat, I appreciate that. Glad I'm back. Thank you, TD. I appreciate that a bunch. And charts and colors, all I can ask for. Hey, look, we're doing the best we can for all of our autistic friends out there. But I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for tuning in here for our maiden voyage of 2026. I'll be back for more, guys. And, you can check out bestballchampion.com if you want to learn more. Check me out for NBA, 2 p.m. every day on the @SplashPlay Bets channel. Playlist is also clickable on the NFL channel as well. And I'll see you guys again soon. So enjoy your days. Actually, gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on these channels. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel at SplashPlay Pod on YouTube. My YouTube channel at SplashPlay Bets as well for NBA and MLB DFS daily. And I'll see you guys again soon. So enjoy your days. Good luck. Check out the Best Ball Champion. And see you soon. All right. Bye, guys.